You're live. Sorry, go ahead.
Welcome to the Altenew booth, and let me give you a tour. So we'll walk over here.
Yeah.
So here we have the stamps wall. So this includes all the categories we have: the floral, sentiments, nature, original. So if you go over here, there's some of our later release layering stamps. Beautiful project cards from our design team. Over here we have this was our first stamp plus coloring stencil. And
Okay.
Yeah, this is another one. And from now on, whenever we do a layering stamp, we try to do a coloring stencil with it as well.
Yeah, nice.
Over here, more stamps. You know, this is another of our categories. We call it edible, so we have anything related to food. You know, this is tea, this is ice cream.
As a British person, I very much approve of the tea.
I love the tea. We actually have a couple other tea related stamp sets. Nature here, we have butterfly and this cute little bird. I love this stamp set. And then down here we have more original and a background geometric. More stamps over here. Once again, you know, some layering outline stamps. You know, these are great for coloring. This one does not have its coloring stencil. Once it was released, I said I need to design a coloring stencil for this one. And this is something we introduced last year. So this is from 2021. This is an 8x10 stamp set. So this nicely fits in a binder. These are some of the card samples from that stamp set. All right, so moving over here, we have the embossing folders, which we introduced over a year ago. I believe in 2020.
Okay.
And some of these are standalone here, like for example, that's background. You know, I just cut a strip and made that card. This particular one actually it matches with this stamp set. So let me just grab this for you. This matches with this stamp set, and inside the insert, there is, on the other side, there is a template that has the same design as the embossing folder. So you can use this template and stamp out your. So this was before we did coloring stencil with embossing folders. So this is basically embossing folder.
Stamp embossing
with a stamp,
powder.
yeah. So I stamped this out first, and then I emboss it. So you see it has a texture on it, and you can
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And yeah, and then more embossing folders over here. Let me see if we have one that has simple coloring stencil with it. Not on this row, but you know, once again, for example, if you want to color, it's not easy to color. So this was just embossed and then on a watercolor cardstock, and then just watercolored it, and you have a beautiful, you know, like a layer.
It's gorgeous.
background.
I don't know if this is coming across in the video, but the depth and like real texture to these.
You can
It's
do
not
both.
like just flat. It's like 3D. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. It's not just, you know, up and down 2 levels. It has actually, you know, gradation of
Yeah.
levels. Yeah. You can do a lot of different techniques here. Let me show you this. This is actually not the embossing folder, but once you have embossed it, you can go with this one I just used a white pigment ink and just smooshed all over, so give it a little, makes it pop out.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We have, you know, also we categorize our embossing folders. So over here, these are all called them botanicals. Anything related to nature, flowers are under the botanical, and then we have geometric. So you see a lot of those diamond shape, gem shapes, a lot of different textures. Great for backgrounds. You can see this is a nice ribbon background. And I love what Lydia did with this card. She embossed only part of it, and this is called like a shutter slats. It's a nice texture on your card.
Nice.
All right. Here we have our stencils. So we also categorize stencils. So the red means it's a builder stencil. So builder meaning, like, you know, you can rotate your stencil and then color it, and then you have, this one actually has a set, so it has 2 stencils. So it's alternate colors.
Okay.
This one you flip it or you rotate it to create this pattern. So basically you're building up your pattern. So the red ones are builder stencil. This pink ones are all our layering stencil. So you see over here, this has, I think it has 3, or okay, it says it down there, 3 stencils. Yes. It's a set of 3. So you layer them up, you get this layered flower look. These are more layering stencils. The teal one is just background stencil. So this one I just used it to use my pen, fine liner pen, and created a nice background for it.
Gorgeous.
Over here we have our hot foil plates, which we introduced recently. And some of these do have simple coloring or layering stencil with them. So you see that top one, Golden Days, has a layering coloring stencil with it. So you can use the stencil on its own. So if you look at the card on the left, it just uses the stencil. And the one on the right uses the foiling plus the stencil set. And this is a similar one. And then some of these are just backgrounds.
Awesome.
Down here we have our glitter cardstock sets. These are great for adding, a little bit of sparkle to your card. You can also go crazy, and I love this card. It's a lot of sparkle.
Yeah. That really catches your eye.
Yeah. Just more of our paper products. We have a lot of pattern paper. Here's just one example of the different pattern papers we carry. We do carry a lot of like background colors. So this one particularly is mesmerizing pours. We have alcohol blends, ink blends. These are great for quick colors for your cards. So this one was just simply embossed and cut out. And we do have washi tapes. This was some of our older ones, which has like big and it covers a lot of your card. So it covers the entire card. This one was cut down, but it does cover more than your A2 card size. And these coordinate with our ink colors. So these are great for adding a little bit of strips of color. Like I love this card where I'm not sure. Oh, who made this? Oh, Michelle. So Michelle made a tag with this one. Just creating a pattern of her own. All right. So
Lovely.
We're gonna go over to the other side.
Oh.
So we'll start here. These are some of our standalone dies. So we have layering dies, just leaves, different shapes.
Oh,
we
I
call
love
them just
these.
creative
Again,
dies.
the depth to these. They're really, they're gorgeous.
This one is, oh, I see here. That's embossing folder, and then this die. More of our layering flowers. Oh, I love this one. It has like big background, not a background, more like a motif. And this actually repeats, so you could like place it and then create a big pattern if you want it.
Okay.
This is 2 layers. So as you can see, this is a 2-layer motif. Same with this one.
Nice.
Alright, moving over here, these are our monthly subscription series. So we have, here we're just showing the latest months, and the top row is showing the bestsellers. So starting here, we have Build a Flower. So Build a Flower is basically a layering stamp set. So each month you would get a particular flower. So that's like, for example, tree peony. This is giant bellflower, narcissus, and so on. And these are the cards next to it.
Oh, they're pretty.
And then this other subscription is called Painted Flowers. So you get a 4x6 stamp set. That's like an outline flower, also a particular flower. So for example, once again, you have a coral, sunset, a zinnia, a dahlia, and so on. So we try to bring all the flowers that's out there into stamp form. And then the next one is a crafted flower. So it's a layering die. Once again, it's a particular flower from nature. So here we have magnolia, and then this one is Orion geranium. Okay, no, Jen designed that one.
Oh, lovely.
And this one of our newer subscription, this is called Craft Project Kit. So it has 4 products, has a 6x8 stamp set, a coordinating die. I mean, sometimes the dies have extra elements. For example, this one has a label with it, and a stencil set that will color your images, and an embossing folder. So a lot of times the embossing folder matches with the stencil, sometimes they don't. For example, here, for this particular one, the stencil matches both the stamp and the embossing folder. So you can color both those items with the stencil set. And then yeah, a lot of times you get like extra elements. For example, this die set has, not only it cuts the element, but also has all these other fun dies. So you get a lot out of this kit. And you can create all these different cards, completely different.
Awesome.
Alright, and then moving here, we have our April release. So up here is the subscription I just mentioned, Build a Flower Project Kit, Paint a Flower, this is the Mini Delight, and the Crafted Flower, it's missing, but we have the card for it. So the Crafted Flower is this African daisy. So we have 2 cards sample here. And these are the stamps from April release. They're great for watercoloring. It's beautiful projects here. We have this awesome greenhouse, Victorian greenhouse that Jen designed. It has a die it has a coordinating die as well as a standalone die. So the coordinating die will cut this image, but the standalone die will create this fun greenhouse. And some more stamps, and then this is the dies from April. Yeah, I love this particular one. It has you can color it, you can color the back and then you can layer it up to get a dimensional look here. Let's see, over here some new things. So starting in May, we're introducing a new subscription. Actually, let me say we are revamping the Build a Flower subscription actually.
Okay.
So Build a Garden will be always contain a stamp set and a stencil. Now, Build a Garden will be a little different than Build a Flower in terms that it will be more fluid. So sometimes it could be a 4x6 stamp set as well with a stencil and a die. Sometimes with 6x8 and a stencil. And one cool thing, we don't have it up here, but you'll always get one of these mini blending brushes with the subscription, and it's the same price point as the Build a Flower. Okay, and this is our this year's 8x10 stamp set, Bountiful Bouquet, and these are the hot foil plate from April. And these are some of our tools that we carry. I don't know if you're familiar with the ultra sticky double-sided tape. I think it's releasing soon. I love this for my card bases and for die cutting and everything. And this is a masking tape. It's great low-tech tape, anyways, all the time. A bone folder, a glue pen, we have tweezers, and the blending brushes. This is the detail, and then the later one is the mini blending brushes. So these are great for all kinds of, blending ink in smaller spaces. So a foam tape, masking sheets, and more tools. And right here at the end we have on the mixed media. So this is basically featuring all our coloring mediums. So up here you see we have watercolor brush markers, and these are the swatches of all the sets that we carry. And then over here is a 36 half pan set, and then that one is an artist grade 24 pan set. These are the swatches, and look at those beautiful projects created by our lovely Aram. And here we have a brush and fine tip pen, so you can see you can create hand lettering, or you can add details to your stamped or colored images. These are watercolor pencils. These blend beautifully. As you can see, none of these you can see the pencil marks. They blend really well.
Oh yeah.
So more watercoloring products. We have coloring books. So this is our very first coloring book actually, and then we have released a couple more coloring books. This is actually for markers. So this is cardstock. We also have a watercolor version of this, and we have this particular one. It's great for markers, coloring with markers. It's on cardstock as well. This is our coloring pencil set. So let me open this for you. It has a booklet that gives you some blending ideas, color wheel, some design tips, and it's 2 layers actually. So there's another underneath it. And lastly, we have fabric as well. So this is Fat Quarter. It's called Dreamy Bouquet. We released this recently. You can do a lot of fun things with fabric if you're into fabric. Check this out. And one last thing, we're coming out with gouache paint very soon. This will be our first set called Strolling Through New York, and we'll have 12 colors. So it's a preview.
All right. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I've lost the camera. All right.